What did Crystal say to you?
I know that she's just being protective, but...
Oh, well, she's your mother. It's part of the job description.
JR wants me to have a baby.
A baby? Wow.
Yeah. And Crystal basically said that it was the worst idea that she had ever heard. That JR was just going to keep hurting me, and that having a baby would only make it harder to leave.
Are you thinking about leaving?
I've worked so hard to save this marriage. You know, and I've been hurt and humiliated. But I stayed because I thought that it would be worth it. That our love was worth it. But now... I don't know, I'm just wondering if it was all for nothing.
What's that?
It's all my Uncle Palmer's notes and diagrams about Scott's brilliant nanotech project. Here's the prototype. I mean, if you want to take a closer look.
It looks complicated.
There's nothing complicated about it. He stole the project, Annie.
Wait, hold on. You don't know that. You don't have any proof of that.
What are you talking about? This is the exact same specs, dated months before Scott ever brought it to Chandler. You know, it makes so much more sense why he was spending time with Uncle Palmer before he died. Your fiancé ripped him off. And now the entire future of this company is riding on stolen property.
Hey, we can figure this out.
Well, there's nothing to figure. It's a fraud. Just like Scott. Here's to your hero. Carrying the mantle of Uncle Stuart. You know, when I think about all the times he's rubbed his moral superiority in my face, criticizing me for how I took over Cortland, what a joke.
I am sure there's an explanation.
I found it right here. You know, maybe you guys are going to be standing in front of the minister when the feds show up to slap handcuffs on Scott.
That can't happen.
I'd be the first to visit him, though, because I just want to see his face behind bars.
Oh, come on, JR. Nobody else needs to know about this.
What, just our little secret, huh? Just the three of us?
We'll destroy the evidence.
You mean the evidence that we know about?
You think there's more?
Lies have a way of catching up. We both know that. And this one happens to be huge. We could lose everything. I mean, for God's sakes, Annie, we mortgaged half the company on this project. So here's to Scott. He was able to do what Uncle Palmer was trying to do for decades. Tear down Chandler.
Please, JR, you can't go after Scott for this. It's not his fault.
Why, whose is it?
Mine. Stealing it was my idea.
Maybe I did get together with JR for all the wrong reasons. And because I just found out that Crystal and David were my parents because I didn't know where I stood. And I needed to feel like I belonged somewhere. And plus he was sick and needed someone to take care of him. But, I mean, that's not enough for a marriage. Not a real one, anyway.
It was so much more than that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be fighting so hard for all of this, and neither would JR.
Was he really fighting that hard?
He wants you to come to the beach with him for a romantic weekend. That doesn't sound like a guy who's given up on his family.
Is that what you think I'm doing? Giving up?
You have had everything yanked out from under you, and even after all that, you are still standing.
Barely.
You know something? You are so much tougher than you give yourself credit for. And I'm a pretty good judge of character. Most of the time. Look, Marissa, JR and I, we have our problems. But he seems to want this thing to work. But it sounds like you're not so sure. So you have to ask yourself, do you still love him?
Yeah, I do. That's why it hurts. I love him so much.
Can I trust you?
Doesn't get any more real than sticking by somebody who's dying and marrying them with no hope of any future at all.
I mean, I didn't even care how much time we had.
Yeah, and then suddenly, he got better. And then there was a future.
Yeah, thanks to Annie. Gave him her bone marrow and obviously so much more.
I know it still hurts.
How do you deal with it?
JR and Annie sleeping together?
Yeah, I mean, I know that you weren't together then, but you have to at least think about it.
Oh, yeah. I look at it this way. If we didn't love them so much, it wouldn't be as painful when they...
Betray us?
No. No, when we feel like they could. That's the trade-off for being in love, I guess. For committing yourself to someone without holding anything back.
Is it worth it?
I am not unaware that there was an attraction between Annie and JR.
Crystal seems to think it's still going on.
Well, Crystal is entitled to her opinion. But whatever the JR-Annie connection was, it was nothing. Nothing compared to what I have with her and what you have with him. And if I didn't believe that with all of my heart, I wouldn't be marrying her. And if you didn't believe it somewhere deep down, you'd have been long gone by now.
I guess the beach is pretty nice this time of year.
Yeah. Could probably still get a swim in before the sun sets.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much.
So you found out about Palmer's invention?
That's right.
When was that?
I don't have the dates in front of me.
So you stole Palmer's notes?
And I convinced Scott to go along with me.
Yeah. Dragging and kicking, screaming, I bet.
From the very beginning, Scott did not want to be involved in this. Come on, JR. Who does this sound like, me or Scott? You know what I'm capable of.
Yeah, I do.
What are you doing?
I'm calling Scott to make sure that his story matches up with yours. And what do you want to bet? That he breaks down and confesses in 30 seconds.
Stop.
Oh, you think he'll cave less than that?
No, I think Scott will want to do the right thing.
You need to stop lying to save his sorry ass. What do you think? You could just hand me yours, this whole mess would go away?
It has to go away.
You don't think I know that? If it came out that we bought Cortland vastly undervalued for an invention that Chandler stole, you can kiss our family company goodbye.
Okay, so that means you won't say anything. You won't sell Scott out.
As much as I would love to, no. I have to keep this thing from getting out. Getting in the wrong hands, someone who could destroy someone like Caleb Cooney. So, let me hear the real story, Annie.
Scott wasn't just spending time with Palmer before he died. He wanted to work with him. And Palmer told him about this new nanotech invention, and nobody else knew about it.
So when Uncle Palmer died, Scott just snatched it.
This was not easy for Scott. It ate at his conscience every single day. I am the one who convinced him to say that it was his idea.
Yeah, I can only imagine how you did that.
I thought I was doing something that was going to benefit the whole family.
You're so selfless.
It's true.
Now, you wanted a Chandler with power. And because you couldn't have me, you made Scott a major player.
Damn it, JR, you always do this. Anything happens, you make it about us. You always make it about us.